My name is Dr. Muteo Boitiwi. I'll be responsible for running the proceedings of this seminar. I hail from Northwest University. I'm the director there of the Indigenous Knowledge System Center in the Faculty of Natural and Agricultural Sciences. So we've been in the field of IKS since 2001. So we are the first university in South Africa to have a teaching and a learning program, research, innovation and community engagement in indigenous knowledge system. We are the first in South Africa, without any contradictions. University, they come before us. We are followed by Venda. Of course, there are other universities now that have got programs on IKS, but mainly research. We are the pioneers in the teaching and the learning of the universities. So when I was called here by the CEO of Freedom Park, Dr. J. Mufumari, I was very happy to come here to share and to chair this program for the day. Like as I said, Freedom Park is also one of the institutions at the Northwest University that we recognize with high esteem because of the work that they do here, and we also like to work with them also in the future. I have to make those remarks at the beginning, because they say if you don't blow your own trumpet, nobody is going to do it. So it's time for us to blow our own trumpet. In the program, we've got the program for today, but it's supposed to start at 11, but because of other reasons, we'll try by all the means to push and to make sure that we can have a robust engagement seminar as much as we can. So I would like to thank everybody and to welcome everybody from where they come from for this particular seminar that we are going to have on Inzalo, YeLanga. As you can see, it's going to be an insightful calendar where we are going to focus on the African calendar. I've also done my PhD on Bolepadinale Botswana, South Africa and Botswana, focusing on Bakatla Bakafela. African calendar, I used to sit around the fireplace with my grandmother. She used to narrate songs and proverbs and stories about the lady, suns, the stars, and other constellations. He says, it's a song about the sun. She also sang about Naledi Yamariberi. Naledi Yamariberi. I didn't know, I thought it was just about Naledi Yamariberi. So when I do research in school, I realized that this was the song of the overarching star. And it got so many resonate with what we do in our life. I translated it also in my PhD. If you go to Northwest University, Boloka, which is the post-year Northwest University, my PhD is there. You can go and read about the science, the stories about the oral traditions that is there, and the African calendar that Ukhulu is going to talk about. I didn't know about Inzalo by then. I would have projected it in my PhD, and I would have also taken to you, to other people, and also try to get this. But Ukhulu is not new in our discipline. We also had a conference some years ago on international indigenous astronomy. He was also one of the speakers on this story. So without waste of time, storytelling, she's going to be the one. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Let me allow the CEO
Mona, Dr. Tina Mtope, a friend of Freedom Park of many years. My HOD for Heritage and Knowledge, Ms. Shamase, and our friends from the Cuban Embassy, Ms. Lauren. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I want to start by extending my greetings to the program director, Dr. Muteo Kotsiwe, as he introduced himself from the University of the Northwest, from the Indigenous Knowledge Systems Department, and appreciate your commitment to preserving and advancing Indigenous knowledge system. And as you said yourself, this really resonates with our mandate here at Freedom Park. I'm excited to host all of you here at Freedom Park, a place where the richness of our heritage converges with our vision of a united future, of a united Africa. And today we are honored to welcome you here as partners, but also as contributors in the making of knowledge, in the retelling of our own stories, because we believe that as Africans we need to take our rightful space. Freedom Park has 5 pillars. The first pillar is history, the second pillar is culture, and the third pillar is heritage. A mix of both heritage, as you know it, but a special focus on liberation heritage. The other pillar is spirituality, and the last pillar is indigenous knowledge systems. And we're very proud that the design of Freedom Park, the aesthetics, everything is grounded in our indigenous knowledge systems. You must look at the architectural structure of Freedom Park. You will know that you are in Africa. You must go and check our museum in terms of the design. Purely IKS and Mkulu, influenced by Ubaba Credo. So when VC Magazine ranked us amongst the top 10 architecturally outstanding museums in the world, there is no better acknowledgement and validation of our indigenous knowledge systems than that. And therefore, here we talk about the emancipation of the African voice, where we tell the world who we are, where we come from, and where we want to go. We do this from the insider perspective and not through the lens of others. And today we'll be doing this through a conversation with our special guest, Nkulu Singiza, whom I think most of you would know. And it's really an honor. I've had the privilege of sharing various platforms with Nkulu, and today is one of those, as we learn from you the wisdom that you always share with us. I'm always amazed at the wealth of knowledge and the wisdom and your passion on indigenous knowledge system. And I do believe that we need more of you, but we need to create more opportunities for you to really teach us. Because we try, Dr. Muteo, to move away from academics thinking they're going to do research with the field, and the field being our people. Because when we engage with these elders, we're really going to school ourselves. Mama Suku used to say, there is a difference between going to school and being educated. And I'm sure you know I say this a lot, because I think it remains relevant. Going to school is attaining a degree or a PhD like myself, but it doesn't translate into anything. And being educated implies your ability to translate what you have learned into action. into making a difference. And therefore you wonder how many of us are truly educated. And today we are going to be educated. And we are honored, Mkhulu, that you are here. I'm not going to dwell much into the issue of Inzalo, YeLanga, because you are here. You are the authority of the matter. But I'm sure you all know about the birthplace of the sun, which is said to be the world's oldest calendar. I'm actually told we introduced the calendar to the world. So we should be proud of ourselves as Africans. I just want to contextualize to stimulate the debate before Mkhulu comes in. And I want to start by reading this quote that says, knowledge, including symbols, narratives, and language, is a means by which some people exercise power over others. And these forms of knowledge are embedded in more familiar kinds of power, like coercion or economic exploitation, and can also be combined in different ways and used for different purposes, and hence likely to be fought over or contested, especially by historical actors. Our firm belief is that in order to understand indigenous knowledges, African cultures, we need to move from a paradigm that deals with the question of African identity from the perspective where Africans are centered, Africans are located, Africans are oriented and grounded. There is a need for us to be relocated historically, economically, socially, politically, and philosophically. And I'm sure if you are familiar with Mulife Asante's work, you know he talks about this a lot, where he says we have become schizophrenic. We have essentially lost our own cultural footing, have become other than cultural and political origin. And he says we're dislocated and we're disoriented. I think it's time we move on a journey of self-discovery, to rediscover ourselves. And today's dialogue seminar is an attempt to try and reclaim our identities in terms of who we are. The birthplace of the sun, Inzalo, YeLanga, has profound cultural, spiritual, and cosmological significance. Yet, its relevance is hardly known. Mkhulu, I do remember, you know, when I sit with my mother is 92 years old. Wow. When the moon comes out, before it becomes a full moon, the position of the moon, she will tell you what it means. For example, if it's sitting like a dish, she will tell you that there will be diseases. You will suffer from flu and various ailments, because when it sits like that, it's incubating those diseases. But if it's in a floating or flowing or half moon position, then it's spreading out the diseases, then we won't be so sick. We take that for granted. We don't understand how our knowledge systems is able to assist us to prepare. When we had the previous floods in Limpopo, I think it was around 2012 or so, the elders within communities did predict, but we didn't listen to them. That is the richness of our knowledge, the knowledge of the stars. The fact that we can name the stars and what each one means for us. There is a lot that we need to learn. I'm saying this because we are grappling with the issues of climate change. And I wonder, Mkhulu, what is it that we can learn from our indigenous knowledge in order to mitigate the effects of climate change? I think this is something we probably need to have a full seminar from an indigenous knowledge perspective. And we hope today, as you are here to share with us, we will learn more, but you will encourage and inspire us. And as I welcome you, as I conclude, I need to tell you that Freedom Park celebrates this diverse heritage. It seeks to deepen our collective understanding of who we are as a nation. We tell the story not just of South Africa, but of the broader continent, from pre-colonial, colonial, apartheid, and reflecting on the current challenges. We say our vision is to be a leading icon of humanity and freedom, not only South Africa, as I've said, but the world. And we want to empower and encourage visitors who come to Freedom Park to reflect on our past, engage the present, and imagine a better and united future. And we want to advocate for tolerance, respect, understanding, because we believe that as we learn from each of our own cultures and others, we enrich our own selves in terms of knowledge and wisdom. And if you are here for the first time, please don't leave. Just walk around. We have over 192,000 of those who died for the freedom that you and I enjoy today. Across the 8 conflicts starting from the pre-colonial wars, the genocide of the Khoi and the San, slavery, the various forms of slavery, the South African War, the World War I and II, and the 4 pillars of the liberation struggle. But if you go down to our interpretive center, which some of you call the museum, you will learn about our origins, dating back 3.6 billion years, across the 7 epochs. My challenge to you is that irrespective of the language you speak, your faith, and your cultural background, if you walk through Freedom Park, you will find yourself reflected one way or the other. You are all welcome. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rob, for that welcoming address. We are very delighted about your work that you are doing here. Also to allocate guests like this ones and welcome all of us here. It's the time of the storytelling according to our program. Are you ready?
Good morning. My name is Kopana Masasi, and I'd like to introduce myself with a song. And I think it's a song that we all know. City House, January, we're going to Barberton Museum to learn more about the African calendar. Their teacher, Mrs. Generous, had been educating them, and on the day of the trip, they all piled up, made their way to the bus, and sang their favorite song. When they got there, they were met by their tour guide, Inzalo. He told them about the history of the African calendar. He told them how the museum journeys back in time and explores the confluence of nature, magical spirituality, and advanced indigenous knowledge systems inherent from our African ancestral history. And as they went into the magical caves, looking at the rock paintings, one of the learners would come and try to touch the rock painting. But even that Opilo saw him, he said, "Hey, boy, do not touch the rock painting. It helps us to keep it safe so that other learners from other schools can enjoy it just like you are enjoying. But I can promise you one thing. You also will get a chance to design your own rock painting." Oh, the children were thrilled. But our young, curious little boy could not resist the urge to touch the rock painting. His hand stretched out, and as soon as he touched the rock painting, the magical cave was filled with smoke. And as the smoke flew out, Ole went missing. No one knew what had happened to him. Mrs. Generous started panicking. He called out his name. "Ole! Ole! Where are you? Ole! Ole! Where are you?" But Ole was nowhere to be found. Luckily, Inzalo knew what had happened to the young boy. He told the learners to please close their eyes and count to 3. Now let's all close our eyes and count to 3. 1, 2, 3, and just like in the movies, Ole appeared from the big box. He ran straight to Mrs. Generous and said, "Oh, Mrs. Generous, I'm so sorry I touched the rock paintings. I was taken back in time and saw the Khoisan people, how they lived." The children would not believe Ole. They said, "You were taken back into time." Ole said, "Yes." He met a young boy, and there they went to the mountains to get medicine for the grandmother. He met an old man with bows and arrows that would not miss the wood. And today, I invite you to be the next Ole as we explore the African calendar. Find out what it means to you to be an African. Is it just a geographical map, the state of mind, the rhythm of our drums, or the resilience of our spirits? Let us find out what it means to be an African. Embrace it, rediscover it, and discover your purpose. Welcome to Freedom Park. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my sister. Obano. That was very powerful. You did touch most of us. Especially because we work our own. She's very powerful. I think she's also learning from the likes of Dr. Tina Thorpe and others who are in this room who are sisters, the powerful sisters I know. You know that power of the woman. We want to reinvigorate the feminine energy. Because in Africa it's not only about men. It's also about what they are very powerful. I think we are just trying to sort out here the technology so that the projection can also come. I think we want Nkulu also to be on the platform.
Chosen. Can we all rise and invite our ancestors while we are waiting? Please repeat after me. To Ibon Milo. Am Vilman. Am Vilman. Am Vilman. Anam Kubulon. Anam Kubulon. Anam Kubulon. Ramase. 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 I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Command. Kamat. Kamat. Antu. Thokozani.
Where is the IT? The IT guys.
From Cape to Cairo, from Morocco to Madagascar, Batinaleya Zambia, from Cape to Cairo, from Morocco to Madagascar, Batinaleya Zambia,
Presentations ready. Kulu also asked for the stand. I'm not going to be doing any presentation. It's your day, Mfulu. I'm the facilitator. We share the same space, and I'm very glad that I was the first one also to be introduced to that place. It's a sacred place. I think there's more. We must do an excavation there, a spiritual one. And Kulu, we are fixing everything for you can come on board.
Thokozani for that. Igama umkhulu Mzingiza. Igama lethu igama lokuzalwa ngabazweli bakhe Hlongwane. ngiyabonga kakhulu Ndlovukazi. Ngibonga neNdlovukazi engikhulume nayo. Introduce to what is happening today. Ngiyabonga kakhulu even management of the center. We've been here a couple of times doing exactly what we've been doing for over 20 years. Because we've been trying to share the knowledge, African knowledge before we colonized. Because we found that after colonization, there isn't a value in terms of information. That is information that is associated with slavery. So our life doesn't start with slavery or colonization. We were living here, and we actually introduced civilization to the whole world.
Talk that talk.
Yes, from here in the south, as it will be demonstrated by some of the content that we see. So let me just read according to what is written. For Africa to rise again, it needs to reconnect with its glorious past, free itself from mental slavery and neo-colonialism, reassume her responsibility of being the mother continent, and use her heritage as the foundation of her future. The Zinzi Mandela Foundation was formed specifically to intervene and respond to these challenges faced by African people globally, with a specific focus on the youth. The Zinzi Mandela Foundation's objective is to reconnect African people to their former glory, promote patriotism, unity, and economic self-reliance amongst African people, fulfilling Shikata Diop's vision of cultural unity of African people. I would like to remember Indlovukazi Zinzi and myself were the students of Babu Crane. This is what people don't know about Indlovukazi Zinzi. Before she actually transitioned, she was in the process, with myself, of setting up this foundation called the Zinzi Mandela Foundation, because we felt that it is necessary for us to be able to teach the knowledge that we were fortunate enough to receive from Babu Crane, which gave us the foundation for us to research more and find out about Africans before colonization. So the Zinzi Mandela Foundation was established specifically for that, that we are able to share the knowledge, especially to the youth. Our focus is the youth because we believe that older people sometimes it's very difficult for you to change the mindset of old people. If old people are set in their ways, very difficult, unless you come up with something viable that will be able to change their stance. So the person who gave us the foundation to all this knowledge about Crane, yes, we'll be forever, grateful to Babu Crane, because I know that before he departed in transition, his heart was heavy because he wasn't being accepted by his own children. Babu Crane tried to leave this knowledge for us, but a lot of us, especially those people who are fashioned by Western philosophy, They then started attacking Ubabu Credo. Why? Because he wasn't using the model that they are used to, which is used by the colonizers. So that's the only reason that people never paid any attention to what Ubabu Credo said. Before I actually start with Inzalo, I would like to express my position with regard to Impumalanga in general. Impumalanga, it's a very special place.
Amen.
In the whole world, because Impumalanga, this is where all living organisms started. The beginnings, or what is called Zeptepi. It's not in Israel or Palestine or any of these places that they want us to believe that this is where it all started. It started right here, on the south. There's a lot of information with that in that regard. African worldview. Zeptepi in the Kemetic worldview, Zeptepi represents the first time, the moment of creation, the origin of existence. Pumalanga with its Intabakai Kodwa, and the yet government is calling it Makodwa Mountain. Contradiction. Because this is a special mountain that our ancestors really respected, to a point that they understood that it is associated with what we call today African creation story. When you hear the African creation story, you can then locate it now. And our story is not about the Big Bang. It was a gradual process. Right from the carbon soup, we call the waters of Nun, or the prime valley waters. In isiZulu, we call the Tukulukulwa, because this is what engulfs and covers the world, the whole world. And the carbon, it is the base element that has created everything that is on earth. So Mpumalanga is our Zeptepi, the beginnings. These mountains called Intabakai Kodwa, it's located in Barberton. Mchindini, in the Siswati. I don't know if there are people who are Swati speaking. Before it was called Barberton, it was called Mchindini. A place when I hear from Ijobugazi, because she had to assist me, it means ukuthi ngesizulu sizohlala ngenkani. We are going to be here by force. And I believe in isiSwati ukujinda ngesizulu ukujoja. Amakhosi were saying isizoni Georgia. Umaniza nizosihlukumeza kule ndawo yethu. So it is associated with warrior kings and queens who were defending their land against the encroaching colonizer. So before it was called Barberton, and this is where you find what is called the Solomon mines. Because these, the oldest gold mines are found in that area. Even what is called the Shiba mines, where it's in Barberton. MTD, please, which then called for the importance of invoking the necessary vibrational frequency. When you say Barberton, what happens to you? Nothing happens. But when you say Mchindini, especially when you now know it invokes something within you. That's a warrior spirit within you. So, which is why we need to revert back to our old ancient, names, so that when we call these names, we are able to invoke something within us. As an example, the name of our country, South Africa. State. What is it that is being invoked when you say South Africa? It means nothing. It's just a geographical position, which is why it needs to change. You know, to as an example, Kemet. When you say Kemet, you are invoking all those African geniuses, all those African warriors, that fought and resisted, colonization, and gave us the science, gave us mathematics, gave us, astronomy, astrology. So a name has got to invoke something within you. Otherwise, that name is dead. So these are the things that you guys are saying, slowly but surely, we need to conscientize our leaders so that they are aware of this. Then recognized by UNESCO, these ancient mountains are acknowledged as the first to cool after the massive volcanic eruption, with all other mountains believed to have originated or separated from this one. Now we are in the African creation story, right? Because now it talks about these mountains, Intabagai Konjwa, as the first mountains to cool after the volcanic eruption. Meaning that all other mountains separated from this. It's not me or Bamprado that says it's UNESCO. Because you guys wouldn't have believed us. Say, you guys this Bamprado must be smoking something or whatever. But now, because it is UNESCO that has produced the report, then everybody feels comfortable that it is, legitimate.
Talk that talk.
Yes, because that worries me as well. Because don't we have African scientists? The question is asked, who always declares our sacred science? It's not us. It's not black people. Or it's not South African. It's mostly people from outside who see value in us and in everything that is here. I've never heard of an African or black scientist, to have made recommendations to government about our sacred science. Why? Because in most instances, they don't know. And they've never been privy to the teachings of Babu Crane, who wrote a book about our sacred science. So, this is the challenge that we're facing today, where now we have to decolonize and launch a decolonization program, because it's not just going to happen. When this message or voice is heard just once in a while, like every Sunday, we at the Great Empire of Kemet, we give lectures every Sunday without fail. They are broadcasted in our channel because SABC doesn't want to hear anything about this content. Who is in charge? Who is in control? Then asking yourself, because some of the work that we do is the work that is supposed to be done by government. We don't have resources for us to teach the nation, but we do it because it's a passion. We feel the need that the little contribution we are making, somebody will get enlightenment. Then they go enlighten somebody else. So why is not government being in the center of re-educating its people? I hear nothing, from them, guys. I know some of you guys, you've been persistent, in trying to teach, but it's not enough. The Minister of Arts and Culture should be at the forefront of this. The Minister of Science and Technology should be at the forefront of this. I tried, personally, to go and, conscientize people in UNISA, conscientize the people in other universities to say, please introduce an African-centered content so that, our children get the necessary foundation. You can't, be raising children who are going to be hybrids when they meet with other nations in the world. Because this is exactly what we are doing. The Chinese people go to the global stage with their own identity. An identity that is not a hybrid. So why are we teaching this? So that it's okay to be a hybrid. For you to be confused, am I African, am I European? It's not supposed to happen. And the only people that are supposed to lead that, it's our leaders. Look at the Jewish leadership and the Chinese leadership. Have you ever heard them, accommodating a vendor language or a vendor culture? So why are we accommodating to all these other cultures that are removing us from ourselves? So these are questions that I ask myself as to, are we truly in control? Because if you are in control, you will prioritize the decolonization of your people. You can't lead a colonized nation and a nation that is misaligned. Why? Because it is using a calendar that was brought by the colonizer, which is the calendar of the Northern Hemisphere. We are on the Southern Hemisphere. So it means that we've been misaligned ever since we were colonized. So this geological event makes an extraordinary moment in Earth's history, representing the literal foundation from which life began. Mpumalanga should be known all over the world. All over the world, all people in the world. Remember that there's what is called the Black Rock, which is found along these, mountain. This Black Rock, it is said to have produced the first bacteria that have created all living organisms. And it's not just saying UNESCO. And we have, a site. I'm hoping that in future, we can arrange, just a trip, so that we go and view and feel the energy of this site, so that a lot of us get to change, the way they think. So in Mpumalanga, it is that sacred, place, not just for South Africa, but for the whole world. If all living organisms, were created here, then it means that South Africa in Mpumalanga is the birthplace of animals in China, the birthplace of animals in the US, the birthplace of everything, even ourselves. Which is why it then confirms the out of Africa theory, that humanity began here. Then we started, populating, the whole world. So let me read about the Black Rock. Key aspects of Intabaka mountain. The cradle of life. The Black Rock found at the foot of the mountain is more than just a geological feature. It is here that scientists believe the first bacteria emerged, sparking the evolution of all living organisms on Earth. These align with the Kemetic in Africa or African concept of of a Zertepi, where life and existence first took place. So, we as African people are no longer confused about the origins. You will hear, because there's this artifact, scientific artifact, called, the scientific artifact called, it is called the Shabaka stone. Who knows about the Shabaka stone? The Shabaka stone, what is written on that stone, this is what gave birth to what we know as Western science. It's a scientific object. Can you guess where it is now? Where do you think it is?
Divided States or London, yeah, one of the
It's
two.
in Britain.
Oh, yeah.
In the British Museum. What is it doing there? Because that formed the basis of what we call Western science. And that stone was found by King Shabaka. King Shabaka is the royal that united the south and north, meaning Ethiopia and Sudan and Egypt. After there was an encroachment there of colonizers, he then fought them and reunited. But in that process, they discovered some papyrus texts, and some of the knowledge was written on a goat skin. Then he saw that over the time this knowledge will be lost. He then asked his people to write it on that basalt stone, which is called the Black Rock. He wrote everything about the origins of life, what we call the African creation story. It's completely different from what you read and hear, or you are taught in university about the Big Bang, story. So you get to understand how the universe came to be, where they are saying that everything emerged from what is called the primal waters, right? Primal waters, we call that scientifically the carbon soup. Remember that the chemical signature of our universe is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So these are fundamental, elements, because everything came from a combination of, hydrogen and oxygen, which is what also still covers. And this is what gives us what we call the electromagnetic field of Earth. It's an electric grid that covers the whole Earth. Others, they know that as the ley lines. You know the ley lines? Ley lines, it's an electric grid that covers the whole Earth. And this is where our ancient ancestors built, these sacred sites, as Inzalo YeLanga. Inzalo YeLanga sits along what is called the Golden Meridian. The Golden Meridian, it is the electromagnetic field of Earth, and it starts in Durban at a place called Bluff. Then it goes up until it hits the Great Pyramid of Giza. So this is the knowledge that we need to internalize. Inzalo YeLanga. Babu Credo Mutwa never spoke about a village called Credo Mutwa village. It was, our thinking. As we are projecting the future, we need to rename that, place called Kapse Womb. We need to rename it Credo Mutwa village. Hey, we are now thinking about what is to come in future. If we are true to ourselves, we can't go to a sacred site which is located at a place called Kapsewok. We need to depart from that and dedicate, because it's only Babu Credo who possessed the knowledge and taught us about that place. He called, that whole area, including, Tabaka, Condra Mountains, Inzalo, YeLanga. And when he said that, like Indokazi explained, it's not just a geographical position, or one of the cardinal points that is true east. No, it is where the sun first shone. It was a birth there. Because at that place, the whole place is associated with the creation story. So, in the African context, the creation story, the sun emerges from the carbon soup we call the waters of abyss, the waters of noon, or primal waters, emerges after the turbulence we call tar. Remember that, it was energy at rest. Potential energy at rest. When we talk about that state, that carbon state, it was energy at rest until this turbulence happened. What happens when atoms rub against each other? Explosion happens. So that is how the volcanic eruption happened. So out of that emerged the sun, which then represents what we call atom, the first atom before any other creation. In the West, they adopted it as a Adam and atom, but originally it's called atom. The first emergence of light out of darkness. So therefore, this is where it all happened, in Mpumalanga. I know most of us, even though we are hearing, but there's still that distract. I hear you, Mkulu, but I don't truly believe it. It's true. You can go and do your independent, research with regard to this. You will come back to the same conclusion. Unless the people want to miseducate you, they will tell you that no, the origins are in Israel or Palestine. Then you'll be okay with that. Because there is this inferiority complex that we suffer, which is why we need decolonization program. It's something that government must implement urgently, so that because our ancestors, remember what they said in their schools, the mystery schools, what white people call mystery schools, amapesh. But kuna amapesh amanengi all over the continent, places of enlightenment. This is what they were teaching before, colonization, happened. You would get most of that information from a book called Stolen Legacy by George James. He will then explain exactly the content of what is called the mystery schools. Amapesh age these days are learned with 3 or 4 components of a whole total canon of African spirituality. That's why you won't be taught about the calendar. And yet Umunyanga is guided by the movement of the moon and the sun. Nature tells you when to go and harvest the herbs. You can't go and harvest the herbs anytime. You need to be guided, right? So Inzalo, it is that place. It is the oldest stone calendar in the world. There is another one similar to this at Napata, right? Napata, Ethiopia. Then there's a similar one in Egypt, but all of them are younger than this one. This is older than what you find in Britain. And it marks the solstices and the equinoxes, right? Which is why, it was very easy for us to then interpret that knowledge, and create a book that, we sell there, which is a calendar that is, based on the Southern Hemisphere. Let me just finish before we get to that slide. Kredomuto village located in Mpumalanga, Kapsewo, is not only an eastern marker but also considered a significant spiritual site where the sun emerged for the first time. Historical, significance, known as the oldest stone calendar in the world. This site precedes most ancient structures and marks, an advanced understanding of celestial, movement. Cultural connection. The site aligns with African spiritual practices and the teaching of Ubabukredo Mutwa, a revered Zulu shaman, a historian who interpreted it as a place of deep ancestral connection with links to the Anunnaki and stellar ancestors. This is what Ubaba said. Ubaba said, if we were wise enough as black people or South African, we would be communicating with the people who reside in the star we call Nibiru. Because this is where they landed. That's a topic for another. It's a topic for another day because I have to go deep into this for us to understand even our creation as a Homo sapien. What happened, how did we transform from abattoir to who we are? What happened? What was the process? So Ubabu Credo gave us this foundation for us to understand all this and the site where it all happened, Inzalo YeLanga. This is where they landed. And Inzalo YeLanga, when we are there amongst those stones, there are 3 stones that align with the 3 stars of the Orion belt. I bet you didn't think your ancestors were that clever. Because they had already conquered the things of the physical. Now they were mastering, things of, what they call quantum, fields. Where you now understand the causal, the etheric, before you understand the physical. Our ancestors gave us a comprehensive education system because Western education system and philosophy only believe in everything that has manifested. Whatever caused that manifestation, they call it mambo jumbo. And this is where our masters, were more focused on. Our ancestors wanted to understand what the principles were involved in the creation of a banana. Because they then give you a comprehensive knowledge about the banana. If you knew these are the 2 or 3 elements that came together and created a vibrational frequency that will ultimately produce a banana. You have a comprehensive knowledge system. Instead of focusing on things that, there's no point in focusing things of, that have manifested already. You study your body, you work for your body, you slave to satisfy the needs of this fleshy look. So these are things that we understand that our existence is independent of this physical body. As an example, when you close your mouth and say something within you, don't you hear yourself? You do. It means that your spirit, your soul, is independent of this body. So your soul, your spirit, is the controller of the physicality. And especially once you understand the principles that were involved in creating this fleshy look, you need to understand that there is a principle that is responsible for me to be able to open my eyes. Without that principle, I won't be able to open my eyes. Or even for me to talk, there's a principle there that is involved in that. So African spirituality and science then it gives us, that knowledge. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Well, here I've already, explained the importance of the science, behind the construction of Inzalo. And, this is said that when the Anunnaki, the children of Anu, landed here for the first time, they landed in Inzalo. Why? Because they were looking for gold. They came here to look for gold and mine gold to fix their environment in Nibiru. Because their environment was no longer conducive for them to sustain their life. That's why you find the oldest gold mine there in those Itabanga Koja mountains. And there are caves all over there. Meaning that it's a confirmation of the first human settlements. The oldest human settlements are found in there. So, which is why I think all of us, especially when it comes to September, can we all commit to go and welcome the sun back, whether it comes from the northern hemisphere. Hey, remember that YeLanga, it should be a place that we prepare now to host all Africans throughout the whole world, because we need to get to the alignment where, when it comes to our new year, we do like what the Chinese do. We do like what the Jewish do. And the Muslim, when it comes to their new year, they go and assemble at their sacred site. And according to Uba Ukraine, Inzalo is the most sacred place, not in South Africa, in the whole world. So the whole world, all African people need to know this. This is how our government should be promoting our country as the place of birth, where everything was birth, humanity, living organism and everything. So I know with warriors like you, of God, if we were to set up a program, we would, and Dr. Mteo from Northwest University. These are champions of change, but who are deprived of resources. Our money is wasted on things that will die, ultimately die. As an example, I know it might sound ridiculous. Do you know that the Republic of South Africa is not supposed to be alive? Yes. We are governed by a structure which represents theft. Why? Because it was formed after they balkanized our country, our land, and put under this called the Republic of South Africa. The governing system that should rule the whole continent is African royalty. They are now presenting a position that is all associated with barbarism. I am of royalty. All of us. Royalty runs in our veins. We can't run away from that. Because when you run away from that governing system, you are rejecting yourself. Because before colonizers came here, we were ruled by kingdoms. So why do we think that the colonizers, a structure should then continue into the future? That is why we won't see any decolonization program. Because a lot of us feel that when we talk the truth, we are upsetting white people. White people need to understand that we don't have a problem with white people, but we have a problem with the system that is forever keeping us in servitude and forever keeping us, subjugated. We are forever on our knees when it comes to this structure, right? Then, even the Constitution itself, it needs to be changed. How can this Constitution be praised by the whole world, but I'm still living in a concentration camp in Soweto? How just is this Constitution? So these are issues that we need to discuss, openly, and come up with a solution, a permanent solution, not these, short-term measures. No, we've achieved this and that. We need to destroy the whole system and replace it. Remember that when we are saying we need to destroy the system, we are not saying break the computer, break the hard drive. We're not saying that. We are saying defragment your hard drive, input a new software operating system there, which is African-centered. But you use the same computer. So that's what we mean. Otherwise, we will forever be in servitude. So what's it? Here's the Shabaka stone. I don't know whether you can see it there. This is the stone that is there in Britain. It has to come back at some point. Even all our content all over the world, the popular scrolls that are in Germany, that are in Russia, that are all over, but not here on the continent. Because I normally say that there's no continent that matches Africa in terms of literature. We have enough literature not to depend on any foreign, content. We have enough content to teach our children until they are at a university level. A lot of people, like Shikanta Diop, Theophilo Benga, George James. These are people who've given us or shown the way that we really don't need a foreign content. And remember that the education system that we are under, it was created by the Rockefeller. Rockefeller's objective was just to create people that will take orders and not think. Meaning they were creating human robots. Go and learn this, and when you get to the workspace, you implement it as it is written here. So that's not the education of the future. The education of the future should look at developing and polishing what is innate ability within all of us. NgesiZulu sithi, all of us, sizalwe sifumbathe something. That's what you need to discover from the age of 5. This child, what natural abilities do they have? By the time they are age 7, you've directed them to that. So that by the age of 15, they are masters of who they are. They know and they are confident. You've given them a foundation. So our education system has got to go back there. So that we are able to create the Einsteins, the Hatshepsuts of the world. You know, all those are great scientists, you know, and the teachers of the past. Those are people that we respect. As an example, Imhotep. Imhotep is the first doctor in the world, recognized internationally. So why do our doctors, the medical doctors, take this Hippocratic oath? This guy didn't invent anything. He actually plagiarized because he was taught by Imhotep.
Speak on it.
Yes. So then you ask yourself, why our black doctors, even our Ministry of Health, why don't they know about these things? And another thing, it's not racist or whatever. Remember that the biological constitution of African people is different from those of a European people. So why must we use the same medicine as the white people? Even the testing of these medicines, they're using a white rice. So it means that for me, I'm not accommodated. So that's the truth that we need to engage with as we try and decolonize, our minds. Yes, then we come to this calendar. Remember that the globe is divided into two. There's the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. In between is what?
The equator.
The imaginary line of the equator. So it means that people who are in the northern hemisphere are not supposed to use the calendar of people of the south. Remember that even the energy of the south, yes, it's going anti-clockwise. We have an anti-clockwise there, if they remember. And naturally, it's doing like that. And the northern, energy, it goes clockwise. So can you see how misaligned we are? Completely. That's why, hey man, Africans are, we are the most praying nation. Our prayers are not being heard because we kneel at the wrong time. There's, December is here around the corner. December on the southern hemisphere, we're not supposed to close our factory. Because this is the time where we have enough energy to work. When we're supposed to close our offices is from the 21st of June. And because when the sun hibernates, all of us don't have the energy. Because we are animated by the sun. So why do we work around June? There's no reason why we do that. Why do we close and say we're going on holidays in December? Why? Colonization, market. Which is why we need to decolonize. And so that we understand the simple thing, the calendar. Why do we have a Father Christmas? Sweaty He's sweating because the whole suit is meant for the northern hemisphere. It is winter there. We're not supposed to be partaking in that. And another thing, when it comes to March, this is where we do umkhosi isililo sikaNomkhubulwane, where the third cardinal point Benville, which represents the Western mark, we are then bidding farewell to the sun. That's why that ceremony is called the Lamentation of Osset, or Unomkhubulwane, because the partner, who is the sun, is now departing officially on the 21st of March, departs officially from the southern hemisphere. Then on the 23rd of March, it welcomes, it enters the northern hemisphere. So for us, Easter, it means football. It does. It means nothing in Easter, because Easter is a ceremony that welcomes the sun in the northern hemisphere. Our Easter is supposed to be in September, the 23rd of September. This is when we are all supposed to be assembled in Inzalo YeLanga and welcome her. So these are things I'm talking about, colonization of the mind. We cannot move as a nation and operate in that colonial vibrational frequency. We need to clean our mind so that we don't operate as we were told. Remember when they came, there was this thing they called psychological subversion. Meaning they gave us the truth according to their own perception, not according to their real truth. Because you can't tell me that Jesus is born in December. No. And remember that December, what happens in the northern hemisphere? December, the sun, like now we are going to Limpopo, there's a ceremony there. We call the lotus ceremony. We go there, we are there on the 2nd of December until the 23rd. It's a night vision. Why? Because the sun is officially, or on the 23rd, it's when the sun is closest to Earth. And it gives enough hydrogen on Earth for Earth to sustain itself until this period again. And on that day, on the 23rd of December, the sun begins its journey going towards the north. That period, when it begins in December, is confirmed in March, on the 21st of March. That's why we go to Benville, to go and bid farewell to the sun. These are things that Africans were involved in. And they're not just ordinary Africans, but royals. But strange enough, when we go to these places, we are the only people. There are no kings or queens there. Do you understand? This is how we are losing as African people, because the leaders who are supposed to lead this process of decolonization and revolution, you'll find that most of them are not interested in this knowledge. I've tried myself several times to talk to our royals and say, you are the people who gave us the calendar. Because it is African royalty that brought civilization to the whole world. Now when the kings and queens are now ignorant of this position, it affects the whole nation. You go to a royal house. When you enter there, you see a big picture of Jesus. What does that picture do there? What is it doing there? A royal person is not supposed to be involved in anything that is foreign. Even the language, a king and a queen is not supposed to speak a different language from the language that they are born with. So what are we doing in politics? What are we doing in religion as royal people? Because we represent, remember that royalty stands for the cosmic order. Meaning that a king represents the sun, the queen or Indlovukazi represents the moon. So it is as above, so is below. So when you set up the structure, or when it was set up, a king was supposed to represent that divine order. Yingakho ngesizulu kuthiwa umlomo wenkosi awuqambi manga. Because whatever the king says, it has to manifest. Otherwise, he doesn't belong. Simple as that. Right. Now we come to the most important slide as we are about to wrap up. This slide demonstrates that, as an example, me, I grew up knowing that I'm a Gemini. Hey. All my life I knew as a Gemini. Why? Because I was locked in that northern calendar. So now when you are reintroducing the southern calendar, I belong to the opposite, which is Sagittarius. Yes. And then you are not then negating the Gemini, because the Gemini and the Sag constitutes you. The Gemini is my weaker hand or weaker side. But Sagittarius, it is my strong side. So as soon as I made that twist, it all made sense. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And if you were to go Sagittarian, season in the African or Kemetic, sense, we call Usahmat. Usahmat is the vicious one, the protector of the throne. Don't come near the throne if Sahmat is alive in that royal house. So therefore, it's important for us to find ourselves, because this is what will give you a foundation of looking. There are people who live and depart from earth without finding themselves. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I here to do? Use the calendar. Read it, because the season that you are born in is the season that you embody the energy and the character of the principle of the season. It's what gives you your character. Whether we describe Uguti, we know Dr. Teo. We are not describing his physical position, but we are describing the character. Oh no, he loves to help people. He loves to educate people. This is the character that he then embodies based on the season that he was born with. So these things that we call talents, something that you are born with, the calendar assists you in trying to, because a lot of people, as an example, other people who go to bar and look for employment, 90% of them are not supposed to be there. Why? Because they hate blood, they are impatient. You go to bar, they insult you. Why are you sick? You've employed the wrong people. To a point that a bar is known as it's a place of gas. So when you go to Para, you say Papa, because there's a possibility you might not come back. And not because there's no treatment there, it's because that the people that have populated that place are not supposed to be there. It's not in them to be in the place. So in the future, we need to put people where they're supposed to be. Don't put a lawyer at Para. A lawyer is supposed to be, doing something else. But put people, there are people that we know even in our community. either a guy or a lady, who's not afraid to go and clean a wound. Huh? They love doing that. These are people we need to identify. These are people that they should be taking care of our patients in this hospital. So therefore, the calendar assists us. Remember, the calendar is not just an ornament that you have on the wall. You live it. On a daily basis, you make sure that you resonate with the prevailing energy of the season. And it's all in the book how to do that. So that your life on a daily basis, you are forever creating the resonance between what is above and what is below. So please get the calendar. This is what they should be. Actually, this is what they should be given free to people. These calendars should be distributed in all schools. As an example, you should be having calendars here, sponsored by the Department of Science and Technology. So that whenever people come here, you give them a piece of us and say, yeah, is what we brought to the world as African people. So this should be free, especially in schools. But I tried to go to the Department of Education when my age was still there. Yeah, when my age was still there, I spoke to the number 2 of my age, but it never went anywhere. But I understood why. Once you accept and reintroduce the African calendar, then the whole system has got to fall. Because that becomes the foundation upon which other layers have got to come on. So let us not betray ourselves. Because leading a misaligned nation is very dangerous. That's why people won't find their contentment, because they are ignorant of themselves. Who am I? Where was I born? What are my natural abilities? What are my natural skills, my talent? You get an internal confusion until you reach that point of knowing yourself. Oh no, I'm good in this. Then you focus on that on a daily basis. This is what gives you contentment, and you are forever happy when you live like that, instead of being misaligned and ignorant of who you are. You'll always be sad, on a daily basis, because your mind is not focused. You don't pursuing your own personal vision. Oh no, I'm a builder by nature. All structures that I build, they are praised by the whole world. That's your natural gift. Stay there. I'm not saying that. Remember that the soul expresses itself in various ways. Like me, sometimes I need a vibration where I must create music. I call a producer, come. We sit and produce music. I have 2 albums under my sleeve. As I'm closing, here is an online university that we have set up. We are making this effort. Why? Because we get no support from even the indigenous knowledge system. They are not giving them enough budget, because when you are running an indigenous knowledge system department, this should be the foundation of what you teach your children. You can't say, Gucci, when the children are crying for transformation of a university, you then bring a paint and paint the walls. Or you change a professor, a white professor, replace with a black one. The fruit is the same. So, which is why it's a challenge. I'm hoping that people in education are listening. Universities and schools can never transform the content. Why? Because they are trained in Western philosophy. So they need outside assistance for people who have internalized what we call African philosophy, for them to be able to direct and change. But those people are resisting change. I'm not talking, I don't just talk, I implement. I went to UNISA. I got tired because people are forever making excuses why we can't integrate this into, these universities. So it's all about that. That's why our struggle and everything is being delayed. I hope, all went well, Maketa. Royals. I call you royals. Yes. We are all royals. We are not Democrats. What is a Democrat? I tried to say that Africans didn't have democracy. What is a royal council? What's the role of a royal council? Because we are the people who introduced democracy. Because now it's packaged as a Western philosophy. When we are wiser, we even say democratic centralism. What is that?
I think we need some space and time, I think, for things like this one. But we have already started to break the momentum, and I think without a lot of waste of time, because I've also given framework around which we can work around here. But can we give Umkhulu another round of applause? I think we are just pressed by the challenges of time, but of course, we need to shift also this concept, what is actually time for us. Of course, I know here, we went around the Western March, because we have to also go and do other things because of all these commitments we have. But I think it's a time for questions and answers and clarity. And any other thing that maybe you, I hope you've been taking notes while Mkulu was talking. I also like to welcome my students that just came from Northwest University. Can they stand up? Please stand up, guys. I want people must see you. They're doing their masters and PhDs and undergraduate. So, we're going to link them up with the university, because I think we need these alternative forms of education. There are a lot of civil society organizations that do this work. I know the Ecology Center in KZN. There's so many of them that we need to bring them together and form this Lekota. I think in is there any mic that will be roaming ITCT? Okay, there's a mic. I noted my sister. I noted my brother here. You, my sister, and you. So I think we're going to come with this. Can we be brief? Straight to the question. No presentation. Thank you very much.
I'd like to wish you all a happy New Year's. Mkulu and everybody in this room, I'm asking everybody, that's my ancestral name. I've been in these spaces, and I think these spaces, there are spaces of people who look like me. And in the past 3 years, I've been homeless. My daughter has been taken from me. And these spaces that I've given myself to, they are nowhere to be found. The very essence of me being an African is what is being used in the court systems for my daughter to be taken away. And I want to ask everyone, because I'm fighting alone, 6 departments, legal, social departments, everywhere. And I'm asking the so-called unconscious space, because this is not consciousness. My Africa, you wear your blackness as an outfit, and I'm saying I'm not false. I'm asking for it, not fighting for my daughter at 38 years old, now staying as Guadalcanal because the black community has gone deaf. The calling we've gone for I've done that. I've created a program with Bojo, Ancestral Healing Yoga, which talks about economics, teaching through a paradigm of an African Kurwani. I was 109 kilograms, but again, this calling, I am living it. My temple is now aligned with my spirit and my mind. So you get to where your Africanness. When are we going to be really using this in Korea? And I'm asking everybody, because I'm one right now. Most people who know me in this room, you know me from Exodus. My journey was part of that, and because it wasn't false, that's why I'm still here. And we don't give Bolo. I'm not going to use an English paradigm. Mental into a breakdown. It wasn't mental breakdown. So I'm asking Rona, because we need to live it in truth.
Thank you. Thank you, Mama. Remember?
Let me answer SD. Because I don't have.
Thank you for this opportunity. My question is, the concept is amazing. It's the first time coming into contact with it. Now, I'm thinking about my kids and how the question is about approach. How do I approach the educating of my kids, of this knowledge, juxtaposed against what they're hearing from school? Understanding also that our children are hearing many voices, from YeLanga, social media, how do I make my voice as a parent coming with this content to be louder than everybody else's?
There's a sister here.
Thank you very much. It is great. I must say this is a very emotional kind of an engagement. Where I am, I'm an African matriarch and I have lived my times. I'm from a family whereby this was basically done. But because of colonization and because of being so much educated, you disregard. But I'm at a stage whereby I want to follow on what he's basically saying. That as we are here, it is basically our task to carry that baton and educate one of our own. And I'm very proud of the students that are here. That is really relying on you to take this baton and educate our own. This is very, very emotional to me. I'm a pedagogue in an educational space that I have retired, and I know what it means. But what I want to know is perhaps what I've indicated. It's a concern when we have our royalty, where they should understand the cosmic much more better in their role. But they are ignorant. We still have the face of Jesus. So I'm saying, how do we educate them much more better? And I think you have answered me in relation to education. The battle, how much we can try, we won't win. But the battle that we can win is with this university. But my point now is the classes have already started. How do we go about that? And another issue also, again, you hear, over the sides around YeLanga and Mpumalanga. But where do we get the information if you want to partake and be part of the tribe and be part of the community? Thank you.
Okay.
inspired me. Give me a microphone, please.
Mukulu, my question is on this current situation that we are facing. We are living in times where things like nature itself is being tampered with. Recently in September there was snow out of the blue, whereas we are not expecting such things. So through this calendar, what are the activities that we do, maybe on a monthly basis, to remain grounded to who we are? That's my question.
Your question is about support, Doctor.
My life has changed, as you know, in the past 4 years, based on me being an African and living African, as you know. And this very African spirituality from my child. And when you speak about African spirituality, dealing with people who look like me, like coming from a European paradigm, it's just anything you say, it's exactly how they behave, exactly how they behave. So I'm saying, though, now who are in these spaces? Because I have not met any representation. I have met any from the spaces of people who identify as Africans. And when I reach out globally, they're kind of the same questions that I would get from the paradigm, from the exactly space that I'm writing from.
It's a challenge giving you an answer there, because there are so many of us who go through so many things that are really unjust. I wonder why African spirituality and culture should be used against you. So it's about understanding and getting details of that. You and I know each other, maybe we can, sit down and hear more. Just the top of my head, I don't think I have the answer, because I need to understand your story much better. Totally. Yes. How do you make the voice louder? I think you need to internalize the information yourself first. If you don't have time, there are institutions, like the KUT, that you can register your children, so that they internalize this information right, from their youth. But we are always available in Orlando. Every Sunday, we give free lectures. We tackle everything that challenges the African people, but the foundation is the calendar. We present each and every season, explaining the prevalent energy at that time and how people can connect to that energy and how is that energy affecting us during that season. So get in touch with us once in a while. We are every Sunday. Whether it's raining or what, we are there. So that's a space that you can come. And we have a YouTube channel, Great Empire of Kemet, Bonabakulu, Basekem, Bonabakulu. There's a lot of content that can take you from zero until the higher level of understanding. Then in regards to information, I wish I had an answer for you. I don't work. I generate my own income. Most of the income that I generate, it is used mostly to spread this information. So I wish I was government, because I would answer that question truthfully as to why am I depriving African children
of this wealth of information. So we are limited in terms of resources and of course. We can do a contribution, whatever contribution is there, instead of just sitting or just be criticizing and talking without doing anything, that brings a solution. Initiatives like this are supposed to then encourage those that are in position of influence to say there are people that we should be collaborating with so that we are able to teach. The calendar should be taught every week on SAPC. We should be given an opportunity every week to explain until the people are able to internalize and live it. The calendar 40, you have to live it. You have to testify yourself as to this season that we are in. Like now, we are in the season of Heru, Matari, meaning what is the potency of the energy of this season. This is what raptures the seed that you planted in September. Is raptured during this season. Why? Because the energy of Heru is potent enough, to do that. So this is the knowledge that you need to understand. For you to be forever experiencing what we call Heka Meiji. Meiji is experienced when there's harmony between the positive and the negative. The male and female, energy. Once we are able to harmonize that, something is birthed every time we reach that point of harmony. So it's forever. Pasabati, when we are properly aligned, Paso to 12. Unchatile lendo. I know. There's nothing like that. It's just your alignment. You are conscious because it's all that. In the consciousness, you're conscious. You need to be conscious. Oh, this is what I need to do in this season. Because the season of this month or season, it will be different from the season of January. Kumasinga, the season of Hell. Do you understand? So you need to understand all these dynamics. Sometimes you must forget that we are loyal. Hey, season, it doesn't agree with you. Now we are going through those cycles. Life is about cycles. There's a season where everything is shut. Then there's a season where everything just, goes positively. And when you are in times of distress, you are stressed about something, or you are about to lose a car, don't focus on losing a car. Focus on your vision. Yes, I'm about to lose this car. But there's where I'm going. So that we are forever vibrating at a high frequency. Don't nurse that pain. And say, oh, I feel bad. You want sympathy from people. Because once you get to that, you are then maintaining a low vibrational frequency. Meaning that negative things, will come on. Besides this one that you are experiencing. So the calendar gives us that ability for me to ascend and forever be vibrating high. So it's like that of God. Thank you so much. Nature has been tempered. Yes, I fully agree. This is YeLanga this September. For the first time, the sun never rose. First time because, these people, which I think they should be jailed. There's no reason that it's going to be beneficial to us when we are spraying chemicals, above. You are a criminal, you must be jailed. Yes. I don't understand why government is allowing people to poison us on a daily basis and, there are no repercussions. There was no reason for them to do what they did in September. All of a sudden there's snow in Durban. Huh?
In October.
No, September, of God. September, yes.
How can our weather just transform and change like that? And why are these people being allowed to continue to do this? So there's something wrong with the powers that be. Who knows that maybe whoever is praying has gone to someone in government and said, hey, I need to do this. Hey, because I'll explain. In Europe and America, most of the people there are blocking the sun because it's affecting them. We are what we have, what is called melanin, carbon. It is the sun spectrum of light liquefied. Right? So therefore we eat the sun. Huh? The more there is a solar flare, we get happy because our energy is boosted. We need the energy of the sun. So why are you blocking? So that you are blocking our spiritual potential. Hey, we need to revive that. Hey, not be prepared. Because that is science. Hey, and the Inzalo YeLanga, remember what Credo said, it's a portal. That will open very soon. You will be there and be transported to Mars. Right? You will be there and transported to Venus. And when it opens, we must be conscious so that we start charging. So it's a terrible thing. I'm hoping, sometimes wrong people are sitting in position of influence and power. That's why all these things are happening to us. If we were to put the right people in right position, a lot of what we experience. As an example, this country is one of the wealthiest countries. Why do we find poverty in South Africa? We should be like the Arabs. When we land in New York, the red carpet and flowers on the floor, because of the wealth that we carry. Mind you, we suffer like this and live in concentration camps today. Nobody even thinks and projects that people are not supposed to live under these conditions. Nobody thinks about that. We have normalized decolonization. We have normalized, these concentration camps. We call them Kaslam. Kaslam Yanda. You're not supposed to be there. You need to be moved from there because you can't be normal. When forever you are hearing Umak, you're trying to sleep. Umak went Sindola. How normal can you be? And besides, the more we live in these concentration camps, the more we are dislodged from our spirituality. You can't practice the African spirituality in full when you don't have Inspire. You can't. Because in the way Inspire is very necessary. That's why we need to be moved away from these concentration camps. Umhlaba is all over. Most of like Jemistin and go to Yemen. There's open land. Why there? But who owns it? White people. That are not going to allow us to move in there.
Thank you. I have my own mind. I noticed two heads there. One sister brother and another brother here. Before we move to that three heads, you are noted there. Let's try to be brief. Can we be brief? I think we are running out of time. I think we have to see the evening session. We'll plan for that because I think when we talk this is we want to be outside the side of the sky. My brother, can you give me a chance? Quickly, briefly, then we'll go to the other side. We wanted to Dr. Kena Mtope to give us something before she left. Because she's going for a flight ticket and maybe because I'm the program director. I will ask her to do that thing for us. Now, before she please, with due respect.
I would like that we leave.
La ngiphuma khona ngazi ukuthi iviki eqala ngoMvulo lophela ngoMgqibelo. Umkhulu lokukhuluma ngesonto ilanga lesi-7. So bengifuna ukwazi mayihlanganiswa ikhalenda yona like niyena siconsidera lezo zinto. You find in Ethiopia like it's a different timeline. You find Basotho they celebrate their New Year August. And then you find that the one people now, but it's different from us. So, was there like the council of this is the time? And another last question, what is the date today, like according to the African calendar? Thank you.
Remember, consciously, I know it is the first day of the week. So that people are able to understand. So that I'm conscious of. Another thing, unyaka wethu uqala ngoSeptember, scientifically proven. On the 23rd of September is the day after the spring equinox. The spring equinox falls on the 22nd, meaning the sun officially departs from northern hemisphere on the 21st of September. It goes through the imaginary line, the equator, 3 days. 21st, 22nd is the equinox. 23rd, it makes 1 degree southward, which then signifies the new cycle. What is the last question to take? Okay. Remember, Wuti, for us to be able to reach there, I'll explain the difference between the Ethiopian, which is the 11th of September, and the 23rd. The Ethiopian, it is based on the birth of Jesus Christ, which is why it doesn't qualify. It doesn't correlate with nature. So on the 23rd, it is a day after the spring equinox. And we can't be certain and give you a certain answer about what data we need, because we still need to do research. Inzalo. When we do research, currently they estimate Inzalo to be over 150,000 years old. But that is not a definite answer. Why? Because it's not backed by our own research about Inzalo. It's just an estimation that is made by people from Europe who come and do some work there. So I can't tell you what year we're in until we do that scientific work.
Thank you. I think this whole debate around the African calendar is very broad. And there are also many versions that I also had in my research around this thing. So it's a lecture on its own. I think the other thing cool that you are talking about, yes, of course, others will ask to come with this own understanding from where we come from. But I think what is important here, what is the lesson is that the calendar that you are using is not ours. And what we should do is try to put these things in our curriculum and infuse these things in our research. Because there's no research is obsolete. I would like to give my mom talk at the time for what has to get a number of vibration, because it's a powerful voice. I would be very upset if she leaves this drinking without giving us that vibration. Yeah, mom.
Is that good? Let's see which one is good.
This one is better.
Oh, yes, that's the thing. This one is good. See, I'm being here, ngizoqala ngimzwise ingoma eyaqanjwa ngumuntu uDlamini uSibakhulu le kwaZulu Natal, engiyayithanda ukuyisebenzisa ngoba iyakhuluma nami. Ngicabanga ukuthi ngelinye ilanga soke sihlale phansi naye ngizwe ukuthi wayengenwe yini mhla ebhala le ngoma. I thought of doing one of my own ngathi hayi asiyekeni asizame nina mhlambe uba kusengeza uzokwazi ukuthi mhlambe unolwazi. Umalinga ngiboni batsha bami anophelisa malinga ngiboni batsha bami anophelisa malinga ngiboni batsha bami anophelisa so nesazalinga yesi ilanga nenyanga so nesazalinga yesi ilanga nenyanga malinga ngiboni batsha bami anophelisa malinga ngiboni batsha bami anophelisa so nesazalinga yesi ilanga nenyanga so nesazalinga yesi ilanga nenyanga. This woman was with her children and she knew that the last day is coming. If ever someday you don't see me anymore, just look at the sky. Look at the sun, look at the stars, look at the moon. You shall see me there. And many of our ancestors, siyazi ukuthi basibukele. Njengoba sihlangene namhlanje Freedom Park, bayasibona sihlangene la. We're not alone. Ombuya nehanda, the spirit medium. Queen Amalethale from Kingdom of Kush. Uyasibuka namhlanje. Omkabeka kajama bayasibona namhlanje. Osikhukhuli basibhekile namhlanje. Okhuluma manje basibona namhlanje. Baningi abasibhekile. Mangicabanga ukuthi amakhosi amakhulu ontu lasiqhamuka khona kuzokuthiwe singabantu basibona namhlanje. That's a beautiful feeling. Ngithemba ukuthi kuzohamba phambe isithoba kwena. Isithoba kinini ama-Afrika amahle. Many times when I greet people as ama-Afrika amahle, bangibona ngathi badidekile. Ma-Afrika amahle sanibona. And masithi sawubona, we say, I see you, I recognize you. Whether I'm in Japan, or I'm in Argentina, or I'm in Senegal, whether I'm in Egypt, whether I'm in Greenland. Directing a show in Greenland. That's not Zulu friendly weather, eh? Now, the journeys we have traveled and creating productions in different places, we make sure that when I work with the University of Kyoto Osaka in Japan, they've got a Zulu department and a Swahili department. Hello. Shababa in Japan, the head of humanities, my Kamgo was said, Puma was that someone at the floor. I'm imagining and I start checking my ears. He repeats. Now this happens in different places. When I directed the show I did in Greenland, I taught them. Yes, this is hello, so Greenlandic performers singing a song that alungadiliki namhlanje uthando lobu-Afrika bethu. Alungadiliki, singaluvumeli lokudilike uthando lwethu lwesi-Afrika. Another thing that is a disadvantage for knowing me, it's the disadvantage of knowing me. I always say, zonke lezi zinto esizikhulumayo akube nendlela yokuzisho ngesintu. Chivenda, please. Chitsonga. Sitswana, isiXhosa, isiZulu, siNdebele, zonke iilwimi zethu asibenendlela yokuzidecoda lezi zinto from isiNgisi to isiZulu. Sikwazi ukukhuluma nabantu ngeilwimi zabo nabantwana bethu. I'm the director of the Ancestral Arts and Heritage Trust. We've been running so many programs. We work with a lot of young people. When I meet a person who's knowledgeable, because we have an arrested audience. We can't sit there and listen to Mom why she doesn't know everything. So I like to bring people who got knowledge to address all of these young people who are in our presence, and we talk to children of all ages, and we adopted a tree under the storytelling tree, and the city of Ethekwini gave us such a hard time to give us a tree in a public park. Eventually, we've adopted it now. We put it on the left since 2019. Everybody who arrives in South Africa to work with us, Marele, the King Shaka, but please, am I going to perform under the tree? About who's good to one other venue, or the playhouse or whatever. The one question I was, we're having people calling from Madagascar, people are calling from Morocco. When they come, will we allow them to perform under the storytelling tree? Excuse me. And of course, we've adopted a storytelling tree. And Bangani, there's a storytelling tree. Manje, we've been told, the city campus, they are giving us a storytelling tree. So that on Mother Tongue Day of February, so the stand in the corner under the storytelling tree. You don't have trees in Northwest, it's called. I know. Doctor said there are trees in Northwest, we'll find out. Bessie Head, where did he live? Where did she live when she was in exile? What's it? Who Bessie Head? Botswana, what town? Serowe. Yes, we have been given permission to go and perform under a Murula tree. The chief there is expecting us. Next year, we're planning a date to go to the village of Serowe to go and tell stories under a storytelling tree. Because Samsoni Bubesi head as well, one of our own cultural ambassadors. So it's fellowship is cool. Which is longer or us. I sit in bite sizes and share it in different gatherings. Spasikul missing to Sagiti. I'm going to Limpopo. Not January, I'm going to Limpopo. This is to my singer, no January. I've been wanting to go to Limpopo for quite a while now. I've been to the place where Babura Shaka Chitanga comes from. So I had to go back. So yeah, January, excitement already. So it might look like it's a few hours in this seminar, but we must continue working, continue. I saw the sapela, this thing. So Klangana, Kulisana, Paramisana, Tandana, Karabisana, Njalo, Makbebute,
I've been told to stop this program, but otherwise we'll go until the time that we have been given here. There's a storyteller. I was told that I must not bring her by the name of time. Because we don't have time. And if there are questions, I think we can always share the contact from you even during this short break of momentum. Let's do that. It's not the last session. We're going to organize Arafat with Freedom Park and Foundation and the Burkina Faso. I think I would like to hold the second one as now possible next year. Yeah. We will both do that together. It always requires resources, but we're going to do it. I think the HOD, please, if you will last vote of thanks, that would be very appropriate for us. You can't come to your house and then do whatever that you are doing. And without you saying the last word. Thank you very much.
Thank you to our guests. I think because of time, there's not a lot of words to say. We thank you for gracing us with your presence.
and all our distinguished guests. It's been a very insightful day, and I personally too have learned a lot. I used to hear from and my answer and I understand now the concept of daughter, you know, and the card. It's been very enlightening, and thank you very much, Program Director, and your guests as well. I hope that we and the Program Director, we can then direct our guests to where do we go from here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. From here, we're going to make our way down to the restaurant. Just please let us know if you do not have transport or try and assist with golf carts, but if you've got your own transport, please make your way down through the restaurant. Yes. Thank you. Yes, and then if I can ask the CEO, Mr. Masimba, could you take a group photo in the front before we go? Thank you so much.